Hi guys, I want to explain a couple things in particular regarding Ali's first question on figure 218, so I put her code up here so you guys could see it. But Ali, your question is a good one, and I want to start with kind of a long explanation so I can explain a few things. The first thing is one of the questions on the quiz involves asking you guys, I forget the exact question, but it says what is automatically imported into every Java program, and that pertains to this question. I'll explain why. So if you notice, as you use something like JOption pane in here, when you're using JOption pane, you had to import it, and I'm sure you guys realize if you don't import it, you can't use it. Well, there's other things you guys use in your Java applications that you can use without importing. So for instance, all these strings right here, you use strings without importing string. In the imports, you used ints, all these ints, the numbers, use those without importing, and that's not by accident. Java has something called java.lang that allows you to, here I'll write it for you, it would look like this, import java.lang, lang is for language, java.lang.star, and that's all the things that you use without importing anything. So when you're using strings, when you're using ints, those are called primitives, but those are automatically imported. So one of those really cool features that's automatically imported into the program for you is math. So if you actually want to find really easily the largest number, and I'm scrolling down Allie's code so you guys can see her big chunk of bolded code. And Allie, you did a good job. It's called brute force. You did a good job of actually working through it, but it's actually good you did this because you'll be much more thankful of the easier way to do it. So when you find, if you want to find the biggest number, you can declare a max. So for instance, you guys have already declared a few numbers before, so I'm going to make int max, and that's going to equal the maximum of the three numbers. And when you use, I'm going to use this something called math class, and it takes two numbers, so it looks like this, int a, int b. Sorry. And what math, oops, sorry, it's called math.max. So it gives you the maximum of two numbers. And in this case, I put in a and b, and it will store the bigger of the two numbers in max. And for your case, you already declared numbers. You have number 1, number 2, number 3. So in math.max, all we have to do is put in your numbers. So number 1 and number 2. And this will store the max into max, the new int that you created. Now you have one small problem. You have 3 numbers instead of 2, and math.max only can take two numbers, but there's a simple solution. You can nest it, basically put one inside. So you want math.max, the bigger between number 1 and number 2, and then you're going to compare it, math.max, to whichever one is bigger inside there. And I'm going to put a comma here, and I'm going to put number 3. And suddenly, inside this new variable max in my code, you have the bigger of the three numbers. And guess what? If you want to find the minimum, you guessed it, it is math.min. I'm sorry, Allie, you went through so much torturous code, but really it's only 2 lines. I could basically copy this and create a new minimum number. Oh, I just learned a new command on my Mac. There we go. I could go to math.min in here, and I would want to change this integer to min. It's just, I could name it apple. I hope you guys realize that. Just because I named it min right here doesn't mean that it is a minimum. It's the code that made it the minimum. So I could name it whatever I wanted. But that's the answer to your question, Ali. Yes, there's a much easier way to do it, and it involves the math class, which answers another bigger question, which is on the quiz, which is what class is automatically imported, and that is java.lang. Hope that helps, and let me know if you need more questions, or if you have more questions.